In this lab, we are going to create a Azure-only HPC cluster using CycleCloud Workspace for Slurm. The first thing what we do is we're going to create a Azure CycleCloud Workspace for Slurm instance that will create our Azure-only HPC cluster. We could also try some CycleCloud CLI operations. It's a command line interface to interact with CycleCloud. Let's get to the Azure portal and start the deployment. In Marketplace, search for CycleCloud Workspace for Slurm. And click Create. Select the region, South Central US. That's where I created the resource group. We have an option to create a new resource group here, but uh, I already created the resource group. So let me choose the existing resource group, and I'm going to select the resource group that I created. You could change the CycleCloud VM name. I'm not going to change it now. And you could also change the VM's queue size. I'm just keeping it as is. Similarly, the admin user is HPC admin. You could change it according to your requirement. And I'm putting the password. This password is used to log into the CycleCloud portal, do the administrative activities there. It's a very important password. Also, we need to add a private key, public key for logging to the node. So let me take my public key, add it there. Um, the next option to select the file system. So there are options to create a new file system. This file system used to keep the centralized home directories and the configurations files, or a file system which needed to be accessed across all the node. And we have two options, built-in and Azure NetApp files. We can create a new Azure NetApp file share or NFS using this interface. Um, or if you have an existing external NFS where you have the data, you could use that as well. For this demo, I'm going to create a new one. I'm using a built-in NFS. Built-in NFS means it's going to create a NFS server on top of the scheduler, and the capacity of that file system, I keep it like 1 TB right now as a default. Additionally, we have an option to add the uh, additional file system mount. Here also we have the create new. In this, we have two separate options. One is Azure Managed Cluster and Azure NetApp files. We can create it or use the existing one. Like as I mentioned, like we have an external Azure Managed Cluster or an NFS, we can use it. I'm skipping this option for now. Networking. In the networking option, we can select to automatically create the virtual network, or you can create an exist or use an existing one. So I'm using the existing one. We created a VNet called as cloud, so I'm going to use that. And you can select the subnet that was created. Um, so here you could have separate a subnet for CycleCloud and separate subnet for compute. For this demonstration, I'm using the same. Here you need to have a private DNS zone option. Use an existing DNS, and you can create. At this point in time, I'm skipping this option because I already have a private DNS zone added to the VNets. So I'm just skipping it for now. So I selected don't use private DNS zone. Uh, Slurm setting. Here I choose start the cluster. This means when the deployment is finished, it automatically create a cluster and it gets started. Um, Accept VM image term. There are places where we need to accept the terms and condition for using the images. We are selecting the option to auto accept the VM image terms so that it'll be done on behalf of us. It'll be done by CycleCloud. Scheduler, I am choosing the DSV4 SKU. If you have an higher requirement, you can change that using this change size button. Image name, we have two platform images. One is Alma Linux 8 and Ubuntu 2204. These are Azure HPC images which contain the MPI utilities and HPC libraries, also the GPU drivers and InfiniBand driver. Um, and in case if you have a custom image, you can bring that as well. And then you need to have the image URN where you can paste it here. For demo, I'm using Ubuntu 2204. I'm going to use the same image across all the nodes. Um, then you need to select the Slurm version. So we have two Slurm version available in this platform. So I'm using the latest 24.0504. In case if you have a job accounting needed, then select this. You need to create a MySQL DB, Azure Managed MySQL DB, and you can add those information here. I'm skipping this option. Login node, I'm changing the size um, to the same one that I'm using for scheduler for this demo. And you can change the number of nodes, the login nodes. So I'm keeping it like one at this point in time. Then partition settings. So this is where the Slurm partition is going to create. So we have HTC, HPC, and GPU partition. HTC is high throughput partition, HPC for high performance computing partitions. Basically, this is used for running your MPA workload, where you need to have the InfiniBand connectivity between nodes. And GPU partition, where you have the GPU nodes available. This can also communicate via InfiniBand. But in HTC partition, this is a high throughput, so you don't really need to have a single job working on multiple nodes. So the IB connectivity is not established here. And I'm selecting a different SKU, say HP 120 16RSv3 for HTC partition. You can have the number of nodes, so I'm keeping like 4 for this demo. And in case if you want a sport instances, you can click this box so that you will get a sport instance. I'm just keeping all the maximum number of node is 4 for this demonstration. The next option is open on demand. This is the web GUI for uh, accessing the Slurm cluster. Here you can run a Visual Studio server, and you also can use a Azure, the Microsoft Copilot for writing your files. It's an AI-enabled interface. You can write your files and create the job and all that things. At this point in time, and due to uh, uh, the topic that we are stuck to, I'm not deploying this open on demand for this demo. So I'm skipping it. Also have a couple of challenge because of my subscription. It's not in the production. The open on demand works with Intra ID, so that it's the access to the Intra ID is not there in the subscription. So I'm skipping that option for now. Um, you can have availability zones. You can select the availability zone for your partitions and even for the storage. Skipping that. Next, I'm hit create. It initialized deployment. It would take another 10 minutes to finish everything. So I'm pausing this video. Connect back when it is ready. Yeah, the deployment is finished. Let's go to the resource group. So we have a CycleCloud VM. It is also created a scale set, and then it also created scheduler VM, and there is a storage, there is a managed identity, um, there is a private endpoint. So these are part of this particular deployment. Um, let us try log into this VM and see the status. Let's go to the network because I don't have any public IP address configured here, and I'm accessing this machine from internet, so I need a public IP address. So let me configure a public IP address. So this will add a public IP address for this machine. It will take a couple of minutes to get the IP added. Yeah, we got a public IP now. I need to enable couple of ports for accessing this machine. So let me add my IP address range, and let me add a couple of ports for accessing over the web and SSH. I got the CCWS port. So this will create a rule for accessing it. Now let's use the public IP address. Go to another web tab and then open it. So this is your CycleCloud web interface, and you have to use the HPC admin, the admin user that we given, and enter the password that you're given during the deployment and say sign in. Once we have logged in, it is already created a cluster named CCW, and we have a scheduler and login node available. We could log into the CycleCloud HPC admin. So the status of this deployment we could see in the cloud init output logs. So we can see the CCW cluster start successful, and it took 743 seconds for the whole deployment. Now let's try logging to the scheduler for testing our Slurm setup. So this is the Azure-only HPC cluster. So this is how you can connect. Um, so my SSH key is in a different location. So let me just use a different key and a different user. So we logged into the scheduler. So the sinfo, we can see the partitions, GPU, HPC, and HTC, and HPC over default partition. Let's switch the user as HPC admin. Let's submit a test job. Say srun -p HPC hostname. So we submitted a job, a basic job, and it gets to HPC CCW-HPC-1 node. If we do sinfo, this particular node gets started. Let's go to the web. Let's refresh. We can see a new VM. It's getting created from the HPC partition, and this is how you can test the job. It's pretty easy. Once you deploy, the cluster is ready, you can ready to go. Let's check few um, CycleCloud CLI commands. So the first thing after the deployment, we need to initialize the CycleCloud. And enter the HPC admin password. And now if you do CycleCloud show underscore cluster, uh, you could see the CCW cluster that we have seen in the web is available, and it started. This is a scheduler IP address, and we know that we started a node HPC, and it is going through the installation. It is awaiting for software installation, so it get ready and it run the job. And you have multiple commands options available in CycleCloud. You could add node, you could check the account. Basically, this is for your cloud details. You could connect to an instance running. You can copy the cluster. You can create a cluster, deallocate a node, delete a cluster, delete a template, export parameters, import a cluster, and you could create a project and a lot of other things like stop and start cluster. We will try a few command line option when we are building the hybrid lab. Uh, for now, this is it. The VMs getting configured. This is a Azure-only cluster. So once it is successful, we can see the job is running. That's all for now. This is for creating Azure-only cluster. See you in the next lab.